Oh, happy New Year's, everybody. It's 2026 and we are gonna make this year rock. I am so glad to be here with you guys. I am so back. I had a bunch of stuff that I had to do. I had to go to Budapest. I had to create videos and other stuff on other channels, and I had to do a bunch of different things. But now I'm back and I want to stay consistent, at least in 2026. So if you guys want to stick around with me and through this journey, subscribe and let's get into the video. Guys, I just played the old piece, the questline, and I'm trying to gather my thoughts, but it's so warm. I am legitimately melting right now. And I know in the northern hemisphere it is cold. Believe me, I know it's cold. I was in Budapest for 5 days and it felt like I was gonna die. It was cold. But I live in South Africa, and in the southern hemisphere it's warm. Warmer than I have felt in years. You know, I kind of live in like a semi-desert area. It's like 30 something degrees Celsius outside. I'm sweating whenever I sit. I'm sweating when I'm walking. It's like I almost can't think straight, to be honest with you. I even got this like weird bulge in my eye. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's weird. Like it's been here since I came back to South Africa. Apparently, according to ChatGPT, it's normal. It's gonna go away in a few weeks, like oil buildup or some shit. I don't know. Weird. But let's actually get into the old piece. I just want to talk a little bit about it. The mission kind of plays out exactly the same as a demo from back when the dev stream was, where they kind of showcased everything, right? Like I think it wasn't even like a dev stream. It was the TennoCon thing, right, where they showcase the old piece thing, and everything plays out as normal, as I said. But there's one thing that kind of, or a few things, but one thing in particular that kind of differentiates from the rest of it, and that is when you get to the Taron Academy. There's a very specific part where if you don't pay enough attention, you're probably not going to even notice it, but when you get into the Taron Academy, Margulis is actually in the background talking to somebody, telling them that she doesn't trust the Orokin, and that one of the Archimedeans, one of the sentient Archimedeans, I think it's Itsam, is the only one that she actually trusts.
I trust Itsam over the Orokin. Have him report to me daily.
Oh, I trust Itsam over the Orokin. Have him report to me. So he should relay all information to her, right? She just wants to kind of know what's going on, and that kind of already sets the stage for what is about to come. It's still way too warm, and I just want to give you guys like a little bit of a disclaimer. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna go over some of the mission in this video, and I want to really give my thoughts about what actually happened, what I noticed and stuff like that, just kind of off the top of the dome. You know, it's almost like I'm freestyling, but I'm freestyling the mission and the memories inside of my head. So I might miss stuff, but also I might not miss stuff, you know, and I might see stuff that you might have missed. So stick around and enjoy. By the way, like the video if you haven't already. I want to get to 100 likes in this video. It would be highly appreciated, right? Okay, let's get into it. So it starts off with you and your best friend Adis kind of going towards that test that Adis has to do, right? And then obviously you get to the stress call, you kind of go into the battlefield, you kill a bunch of soldiers and stuff like that, and you get introduced to the Focus Expansion School, which is freaking amazing, by the way. I don't know how you unlock that. I think it's like after all the quests and stuff, you have to do specific stuff and then you unlock that. So I haven't gotten to that yet. I've also not played the Devil's Triad. So if you're seeing this and I haven't live streamed it yet, I'm live streaming every single Monday at 7 p.m. CEST or SAST if you're in South Africa. So if you guys want to see me and my first reaction to all of that, bye-bye. It's over here on YouTube, right? So with that being said, let's actually get back into it. I'm not gonna lie, still too warm. So you go onto the battlefield, get the Focus Expansion, and then you get to that like big X-shaped structure, which I guess was used by the Orokin at some point as like a school or maybe a terraforming thing at some point, right? And then you get to the first part where you kill the sentient, and Adis is extremely sad. It's an extremely emotional moment in the story. So you get back to Tauron Academy and you find Adis there. You kind of give Adis back his face. That'll make sense if you've played the mission. And then you guys talk it out. You kind of go back into the battlefield, stuff like that. So my first thing was, since the beginning of that mission, something was off to me. Something felt not quite right. Like there's information that I need that I don't have. And one of those things were, why is Galastra so hell-bent on starting this war again, on having this rebellion? Like, what is the motivation behind it? And you kind of get to a point before you first fight that sentient where she says something in the lines of, you know, a land promised to us, but it never came to us, or something like that, right?
The promise of a home, so lightly surrendered.
And you think to yourself, naturally it must mean that she wants revenge against the sentients. But that's not quite what's happening, is it? You later find out in this mission, or in this questline at least, cinematic questline, that Galastra is doing all of this to rebel against the Orokin, not necessarily the sentients. And the reasoning behind her kind of, it looks like brainwashing, that sentient in the beginning. It's not actually brainwashing. It is showing that this bloom, I think it's a xenoflower or something, like, you know, that the life force, that blue life force that you see on Tau, that kind of is everywhere. That allows the sentients to have free control of their minds. It kind of gives all of them like a hive mind, a situation where they have this like artificial intelligence that kind of can just think on their own. Doesn't have to have orders. It can kind of live in prosperity with everybody else. But I just think it's still just a little bit too warm. I think there's more to the story than that. I think that, yes, on the one hand, they have this like free will. I'm saying it in quotation marks for a reason. But on the other hand, I think that the Orokin might have used it to actually control the sentients in the background, because this whole problem was caused by none other than the Orokin, and well, Ballas, to be very precise. And not only Ballas, you actually learn that one of the other Orokin also has an agenda. I can't remember his name, it's like, or her name, it's like Nitra, or I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below what that name is. The Orokin names are weird, I can't remember all of them. I only played it once, played it through, and kind of had to collect my thoughts, right? So, the thing is, the Orokin were behind everything. And they actually used you and Adis both to go to that terraforming egg-shaped thing, right? Implant a device, and then killed off all of the xenoflower, everything that gave the sentients free will. Free will, right? And now you're in a situation where everything turns to chaos. You and Adis have a huge fight. Afterwards, Adis is like, okay, you know what, you were right. You were right. This is not your fault. This is the Orokin, it's not you. And you're in a situation where you kind of receive the life force of Adis, like the last little bit of life force. Adis dies, your best friend dies. Very emotional moment. And then, as in the famous words of my chat at that very specific time, a generational crash out. The best and biggest crash out in probably Warframe history is about to come. Because earlier in that mission, right, you see Uriel kind of being strung up. But now you go back to Uriel, the Devil Frame, and you transfer or use transference to go into Uriel. You break down and all hell came loose. Everything got demolished. You destroy the entire Tauron Academy. So you kind of break through everything, and you can, through this mission, you hear the indifference, right? Like a few times talking to you in your head. It's kind of with you the whole time, kind of hammering on you and everything like that. But it kind of overtake you in that moment where you almost sound like you turn into the indifference. Like you turn into something pure evil. at that point. You walk into the Tauron Academy at the end, right? Where you are looking for Ballas and you're like, rap, tap, tap, come out, little piggy, or something like that. And it is malicious, pure evil, malicious intent, destructive intent. And I like it. Not gonna lie, I like that moment. I don't like Ballas. I hate him now, but I didn't like him before. I despise Ballas at this moment, to be honest with you. Like, Ballas is an asshole, and this just reinvigorated that hate for me. I want to go back to the New War mission, and I'm probably going to replay that at some point, just to kick Ballas' ass. If any of you guys feel the same way, let me know in the comment section down below. In any case, the mission ends off where Margulis kind of puts you to sleep by using whatever the hell Margulis uses and erases your memory. You know she's going to erase your memory. And then something happens. A hell of a lot of time goes by. You stay young. And then you get to the modern Warframe era. Probably you were probably put to sleep in some cryo chamber or something similar to that. Probably got hidden away in the void or whatever the case may be. There's a bunch of explanations as to what that could be. Either way, I had to form my thoughts about this. All right, so let's talk theories and questions, because that's why we're all here, right? So first of all, why does Margulis distrust the Orokin and only trust Itsam? But at the same time, later in the quest, she talks about loving Ballas and her love being, negatively impacted or whatever the case may be. I can't remember exactly what the words were, right? Something is up. She knows something. But that's my first question. Maybe you guys can answer some of this, by the way, in the chat. Then, my second question. What did Uriel actually do? Now, I know, maybe I'll learn about it later as I go on, towards the Devil's Triad or whatever the case may be, but as far as I know, the Uriel Warframe and the Proto-Frame Road, they're not the same person. Yeah, the Proto-Frame is almost the same as the Warframe, but it's not the same people, right? It's not like it was Roth and then it turned into Uriel. No. It's just Roth is essentially based on Uriel, if that makes sense. So I don't know if those two will be connected. But then that doesn't answer my question, right? What did Uriel actually do? Because in the quest, the old piece, we ask Adis what Uriel actually did, and his answer is something in the lines of, he did something really bad against the Orokin and that his punishment is deserved, right? So we don't actually know what happened. We know he's the heretic of Zata, the heretic of truth. So did he try to expose the Seven? Maybe. Only time will tell. Maybe I'll learn the answers as I go along. I still have to go to the Kim chats, I still have to do the Devil's Triad. There's a bunch of stuff that I still have to do. And I think that we will learn more about Uriel in 2026, well, it's now 2026, as we go along and go back to Tau, right? So I think there's going to be more information there. Then we're going to move on to Galastra. Galastra's motivations as to why she's doing what she's doing. It does somewhat get revealed, right? It does somewhat say that, yeah, she wants to kind of expose the Orokin for what they really are. But then why is she attacking the sentients? Is it because it's an Orokin creation? Does she want to show us that even though the sentients have this incredible power of free will, that they can still be controlled and still be used against us? That's kind of an interesting thought to have. But the way that she's doing it, she's essentially destroying lives. We had a genuine connection with Adis. Interesting indeed. Then, of course, we have the Orokin themselves. Selfish people. To the core. Most of them, at least. You have Ballas. He wants total control. We have the other executor, I don't even remember what her name was, like Nitra or whatever the hell that was. She wants total control. Where's the rest of them? That's my question. Where's the rest of the executors? It is said that 5 of the executors are somewhere else. Where that is, I don't know. Did Ballas do something to them? What actually happened? Only time will tell. And then, of course, how does the Xenoflower give the sentience free will? How does that even work? What is the Xenoflower actually? And then the ultimate question. What does this have to do with Albrecht Entrati? Because if you remember correctly, in the beginning of the quest, Lotus tells Loid that this is where we need to go if we want to find Albrecht, or, well, she alludes to the name Albrecht. She says, ah, and then she gets cut off, right? Why did Albrecht Entrati go back in time to that specific place, to the old piece? What happened there that is so important that Albrecht had to go there as well? Or do we need to go there to find answers as to where Albrecht is now? I saw that with the Devil's Triad, for example, that Albrecht Entrati went back to XX99. It doesn't say it's 1999, as in Warframe 1999. It just says XX99. It can be 2199, it can be 2099, it can be 1899, which I think is probably going to be more accurate. Like, and why 99? What is the significance of that? Then again, one question that I have is, how big was the Indifference's influence on the operator at that point in time? Because during the whole quest, you can hear the Indifference in your head, talking to you, breaking you down, saying all these bad things. They're talking about you. They don't want you to know. You know, stuff like that. It's almost like being schizophrenic. And at the end of the questline, when you turn into, or you use Uriel, right, as a Warframe, it's almost like you accept that part of yourself. And it's like you almost turn into the Indifference for like a split second, for like a moment, right? There's some interesting things around that I'm gonna have to think about. These are the types of questions that we need to ask. And we need answers for, at least. At the very least. Now, I will probably get a lot of these answers as I play the game, but it's things that's kind of going around and around in my head right now, and I can't help but wonder what the hell is going on. This quest was supposed to be something that gives you answers, something that kind of fills the gaps between the old war and the new war, like somewhere around the old war. Like, it's memories that you kind of forgot, or you were forced to forget in this case. But these memories only gives us more questions than answers. If you guys have any like actual answers to some of these questions, or maybe even some theories, let me know in the comment section down below, because I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Like, you are incredibly smart people, and I love your theories. I've said it multiple times and I'll say it again. So with that being said, if I think of anything else, I'll let you guys know. But for now, I'll leave you with one last question, and that is, when you play Warframe, when you dive into the theories, into the lore, into the story, this amazing universe, do you ever wonder to yourself, do you ever ask yourself the question, do you ever want to play?